more than normal happiness this Friday, and that's because of the multiple indictments against the scummy Donald Trump. I know you've heard everything you need to hear about it so far, as have I, but there's so much we haven't heard. First of all, we haven't heard exactly what the indictments say, and I think that's very necessary, and I'll get to that momentarily, why it's necessary. This is truly, it's a defining moment in this country. And the definition that's going to come out of this is whether or not this country is going to continue to try to live up to our founding documents. We've been trying for 200 plus years. We haven't done a very good job of it in certain instances. In other instances, we've done much better than anyone expected. The best way to get a reading on where we are is to talk to your black friends, if you're white, where it concerns the progress that we've made toward real democracy. And I don't have any advice for black folk. As a matter of fact, I accept advice from them. I don't offer it. But it is a defining moment, and it's going to be determined truly, and it may be explosively determined, how the MAGA filth, whether or not the MAGA filth believe in the rule of law. Now, I think it's almost a given that they do not. They believe in their crazy, psychotic shit, which has got one leg in religious nonsense and the other leg in fascism. And neither of those believe in the rule of law. Religion is not about the rule of law. Fascism is about the rule of one person, but it's not about the rule of law. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's what this defining moment is. And I've said before, I'm kind of worried. This country could erupt into the third revolution. Now, the traitors in Congress, the real filth, and they're already screeching and farting and screaming, aren't they? Keep in mind what the Republican Party did to Bill Clinton back in the mid-90s. Oh, my God. He lied. Yes, he did. He was led into a perjury trap. Yes, he was. He was a dumb shit that couldn't keep his pants zipped. Yes, indeed he was. But he was impeached for lying about oral sex with a consenting adult. And if you want to go back and look, I know you don't. I don't blame you. Go back and look at some of the testimony when his impeachment trial occurred in the U.S. Senate. OMFG, I have never heard such hyperbolic bullshit. Because Trump got a blowjob, the entire Western alliance of NATO was about to collapse. Nothing this horrible had happened since the rise of Hitler. Do you remember this? Oh, God. And now listen to these worms now. Well, they're not Republicans. But even if they were, they would be saying pretty much the same thing they're saying now, these Christian fascists. Trying to defend the indefensible. This filthy criminal bastard who finally is going to have to face some kind of responsibility for what he has done his entire rotten life. You know what the best thing to happen right now for the country would be to Donald Trump just keel over with a fucking heart attack and be gone. That would end this, wouldn't it? Oh, my God. But these traitors in Congress, you know who they are. With the exception, Mitt Romney finally spoke out this morning. I don't know if anybody else has, any other Republican senator. But Romney finally spoke out. What did he say? Well, Trump brought this on himself. Ooh, what a powerful statement, Mittens. But it's something. But as of the time I'm recording this podcast, that's the only Republican or Christian fascist senator who has spoken out. Jesus, these people. But the filth in the U.S. House of Representatives, the Christian sickos, will scream and fart and wheeze about the unfairness of the law being applied to, well, what is really just another suspect. I mean, how did these people elevate Trump to deity status, which they have so obviously done? He is dirt under their feet. He has done everything his entire life that he could do to beat down everybody who is not in his economic class, whether that economic class is real or imagined. Trump has been an absolute enemy of the average working person. And yet, so many of them are willing to rally around this bastard. Well, rally around him now, which they will. And millions of these brain-dead idiots will join the crusade. Oh, Trump loves this shit, man. Trump, the more indictments that come his way, the stronger Trump gets. He does. He's such a fucking whiner. And apparently there's so many people in this country, I mean, this is obvious, he never would have gotten a nomination, who agree with him. Oh, I get treated so badly. This is what a lot of white people think. Oh, the Jews are trying to replace me. The immigrants are trying to replace me. The coloreds are trying to replace me. Oh, my God. Donnie, save me. Oh, Jesus God. How... I know the answer to the question. I was going to say, how did this country produce so many tens of millions of crybaby little assholes with one thumb in their mouth and the other thumb up their rear end, and the only time they open their mouth is when somebody hollers, switch! God. And as far as Biden is concerned, Biden's not indicting anybody. Biden is an institutionalist of the highest order. And when reports came out that he heard about the indictments coming down, he got it in the popular press, I believe that. Anybody else, I would have said, oh, bullshit. But I believe it about Biden. I don't think Biden is the type that when his workday is over, he goes home and nails his ass to MSNBC the way I do. No, of course he doesn't. He did his job for Monday or Thursday or whatever day it is, and he goes home and maybe he and Jill have a drink. Or they talk about this, talk about that. Maybe make some popcorn, watch a movie. So I believe him when he says, or when the press says, he says, well, I just heard about it in the newspaper. Right, of course. And why don't we look at all of this as not an ex-president being indicted? Fuck all that. He's Donald Hustler, grifter, criminal Trump. Why don't we just look at him as someone being charged after a thorough investigation with criminal acts? He's not the president. He's not Jesus' little brother. He's an asshole. What is wrong with all these people who voted for him twice? I mean, my God. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Show me the sleeping pills and the booze so I can OD and be done. Oh, my God. And Biden is not trying to stop this filthy cockroach from running for president again. Trump broke the law, not Biden. And the law this orange bastard broke, he now has to take responsibility for. And some of the laws, if not, I haven't seen the indictment either, but some of the laws he allegedly broke, allegedly, come on, Malloy, some of the laws this fucker broke are constitutional prohibitions against certain behavior. Trump doesn't give a shit about that. The law in New York, the law in Florida, federal law, constitutional law, financial law, marital law, any kind of law. It's horseshit to Trump. I just lose it. Anything to do with the orange vomit. And I just lose it. I go crazy. How to convict Trump, even given that the son of a bitch has already admitted 2 or 3 times to 2 or 3 of the charges that are coming in the 7-count indictment, even though we don't know specifically what the indictments are. I can't wait to see the one about conspiracy. Oh, because it takes at least 2 people to make a conspiracy. Oh, baby. Now, by the time you hear this podcast, maybe that's already been revealed. I think it is absolutely incumbent on Jack Smith to, I guess it's up to a judge, but Jack Smith has got to request a judge to unseal these 7 indictments. How else are we going to get this caterwauling from these son of a bitches on the Christian right to shut the fuck up? I mean, once the indictments are revealed, are unsealed, and people can see what he's being charged with, maybe they can stop their bullshit. Oh, they're just trying to stop the leading contender against Joe Biden. This is all political. No, it's not. It's criminal. Oh, take a breath, Malloy. Now, Norman Eisen, Andrew Weissman, and Joyce Vance. And I'm sure you're familiar with all 3 if you watch MSNBC. These 3 have a piece in today's New York Times I'm going to share with you when we come back about how to convict this son of a bitch, Donald Trump. Because the only thing that this country should be concerned with right now is convicting him. Then the appeals process, and then all this other shit. But he's got to be, like I said, it's what do they call it? What's the newest phrase? It's gotten so much, become a meme almost. This is an inflection point. I hate that term. This is an inflection point in the history of this country. Well, I would just use plain old simple language. This is a defining moment. This is where, like I said at the beginning of this tirade, the definition of the United States becomes clear. We have, in a sense, miserably failed our original documents, especially the part about we hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident? Huh? Ask a bunch of black folk about self-evident. But we have tried along the way. Some of the power structure, which is white people, have tried. Some have tried. Laws have been passed. Amendments to the Constitution have been added. Efforts have been made. Well, now we are at a critical junction. Either this country is going to continue to try to achieve what the framers put out there in their hypocritical way. Either we're going to achieve it or we're going to devolve into some sort of a slop-filled cesspool of Christian insanity and grifters who run the country like Trump, like half of these son of a bitches in the U.S. Senate and about 80% of the bastards in the House. This is truly, honestly, deeply a moment of decision. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.